Good morning, Professor. My name is Joseph Sester, and this is the video on my Android app. When I press on the my Android app icon, it takes me into the main activity page, which I have titled My Favorite Fast Food Restaurants. I have an image of food in there and a View Collections button. When I press on the View Collections button, it takes me to the Collections activity page with 5 radio buttons of different restaurants such as McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Subway. It also has a back to main button that'll take me back to the main activity page. So I'll go back into the View Collections for the Collections activity page. When I press on the McDonald's radio button, it takes me into the Details activity page with some details about McDonald's. When I press on Back to List, it takes me back to the Collections list. So I will press the Pizza Hut radio button next. Gives me that information. Back to List. Taco Bell. I'm back in the Details activity page. All right, back to List. Now I'm going to press on Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right, back to List. Subway. Back to List. And then if I want to go back to the main activity page, I will press on the Back to Main button, and I'm back into the main activity page. All right. So this first file, which is the mainactivity.kt file, is the main activity class. So it is located inside of the edu.sester.myandroidapp package, and it extends the app compat activity, which is part of the Android's support library for building activities. So inside of the onCreate method, which is the first method called when the activity is created, we call super onCreate to initialize the activity and then set the content view using the set content view r.layout.activity main. This loads the layout defined in the activity main.xml file. Alright, next we have the find view by ID to get the reference to the view controller button. Its ID is a collection button and it's defined in the XML layout. Then we attached a click listener to this button. When the user taps it, we create an intent right here that tells Android to switch from the current screen to collection activity. We then start the activity using start activity intent. Alright, so this next file is the collection activity.kt file. It is the collection activity class. Just like the main activity, this is also a controller in our model view controller structure. So when this activity is created, it sets its layout using the set content view r.layout.activity collection. This links to the activity collection.xml file, which contains the radio buttons and a back to menu button. The key component here is the radio group, which holds all the restaurant choices. We get a reference to it using the find my view by ID, and then we add a listener to detect when a radio button is selected. When a user picks a restaurant, the code grabs the selected radio button, extracts its text, like Pizza Hut or Subway for example, and sends the value as an extra in an intent to details activity. This lets us show detailed information about the selected restaurant. There's also a back to main button that when tapped, it launches main activity using a similar intent. So this next file is the details activity.kt file, which is the details activity class. It is also part of the controller layer in our app. This activity is responsible for showing the details of the restaurant selected in the previous screen. When it starts, it sets the layout using set content view r.layout activity details. When we use the find view by ID to access the text views and the back to list button, the restaurant name is shown in the title view, title text view, and the info text view displays a description based on which restaurant was selected. The description is pulled from strings.xml. The onSave state method, the onSave instance state method stores the restaurant name so we don't lose it on screen rotation. And then finally, the back to list button simply finishes this activity and returns to the previous one. Alright, so this next file is the Android manifest.xml. It defines the settings and components of the app. The root element is manifest, and inside is an application tag which wraps all level configurations. The app declares three activities: main activity, collections activity, and details activity. These are the three screens that the users interact with. For the main activity, it is marked as the launcher activity, which means it's the first screen that opens when the app starts. This is done using the intent filter tag with the main and launcher actions. Settings like the app's icon, theme, and backup rules are also declared in this file under the applications tag. Okay, so this next file is the activity main.xml file. It controls how the main screen of the app looks. The root element is the linear layout, which stacks everything vertically. It's centered on the screen and has padding around the edges for spacing. The background color is a light blue set with a hex code #ADD8E6. At the very top, there is a text view that shows the main title. The actual text is pulled from strings.xml using this code right here, which makes the app easier to localize. The title uses a bold font, is centered, and has some margin spacing above and below. Below the title is the image view right here that displays a picture of favorite foods. This image comes from the drawable folder and is called favoritefoods.png. At the bottom, there is a button labeled View Collection. The button's text also comes from the strings.xml file using this key right here, View Collection button. When the user taps this button, it launches the next screen that shows the restaurant collection. Alright, so this next file is activity collection.xml. This file defines the layout for the collection screen in the app. This screen uses a linear layout with a vertical orientation, a light blue background, and padding to space things out. Inside it, there is a radio group that holds 5 radio buttons. Each radio button represents a different fast food restaurant. These include McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, KFC, and Subway. The radio group ensures that only one option can be selected at a time. Below the list of options, there's a button labeled Back to Main, and this button lets the user return to the main screen. Each radio button's text is hard-coded here for simplicity, and the layout's IDs match the logic used in the collection activity .kt file for detecting which restaurant the user selected. Alright, so this next file is the activity details.xml file. It defines the layout for the restaurant details screen. The layout is oriented vertically with a center design and a light blue background, just like the other screens. At the top there is a text view with ID title text view. This is used to display the name of the selected restaurant in bold large text. Right below that is another text view called info text view, and this shows a short description of the selected restaurant. The text is centered and slightly smaller. Finally, there's a button labeled back to list that lets the user return to the collection screen. All these elements work together to create a clean and focused detail view for each restaurant. Alright, so this next file is the colors.xml file. It stores name color values using the app. Here we have defined two basic colors, just black and white. These name colors can be reused in the XML files by referencing color-black or @color-white, keeping the design consistent. The next file is strings.xml. This is where all the user-facing text is stored. Instead of hard-coding text in layouts or code, we define it here using the string keys. For example, the title "My Favorite Fast Food Restaurant" is stored under main title. And the descriptions for each restaurant appear under keys like description McDonald's or description KFC. This makes the app easier to maintain and also supports a localization if we want to translate it later. And then we also used a favorite foods .png image, which is shown in the main activity. It visually represents the theme of the app, fast food. This image appears inside of the image view on the main screen, giving users a visual welcome.